Hello, we are going to narrate a plot about the story Absit by Angelica Godadischer.
This story starts with a guy who came walking down the neighborhood sidewalk. It was an early Saturday afternoon and the sun was at his back when he stopped it in front of a railing painting green. The man was thinking that he was going to make something for a girl and thinking about her age. The guy tried to speak with the girl, but she didn't answer, and he kept trying to talk with her. When the girl finally answered him, she told him that her mother told her that she must not talk with strangers. And the man told her that for that reason he was asking her name to no longer be strangers. He was thinking how many years she could have if 6 or more than that. And that age, the children are soft. The girl answered him that she wasn't gonna tell him anything, and he answered her that it was okay. But he is still asking her if there was someone in her house, her mother or her dad. He was expecting a no as an answer because he was fighting internally to do nothing to her. But they were not in the house, neither the maid. She was alone in her house. The man was offering candies, tried to convince her, but it did not work either. He tried with a beautiful doll, and with this he caught her attention. The girl wanted to see it, and the man told her that he had the doll in his pocket, and he asked her to open the gate. She told him that it was already open. The guy pushed the gate and went into the garden. He was still thinking about not doing anything, but he knew it was yes. He could almost feel the girl's skin under his fingers, silk, setting, sweet, warm, he said to himself, but he was already alone in a world in which there was nothing. And he asked himself where he could take her when the girl asked him to show her the doll.
Then the man told to the girl to give her hand and hide behind the plant because the neighbors could get jealous. But he remembered what he did to lose his sister and had to be careful because he didn't want that to happen again. So he kept talking, and he thought that because it is Saturday and there's nobody on the lot in the back because it is going to be built. The girl told him that her mother said the old men are idiots, and he tried to continue the conversation but asserting that she was right and having an inner fight with himself, wondering where her mother was and why she didn't come back. Maybe he will stop what he wanted to do. Then he tried to persuade her by telling her that not anyone was so bad and asking her if her father was a bad man. But she replied that he did not live with them and to show her the doll. So he replied that he had left it at home. The girl realized that he liked to her, and he told him that he was also a bad man. He replied that he was not bad and that he had something better than the doll. She quickly changes the conversation and warns him to be careful because there is a cistern. Then she mentioned that Mr. Laws was going to cover it with cement and stones. The man asked her who he was, and she replied that he was the foreman who had told her that there was water and toast down the well, and that her mother had told her that there were scorpions too, and that it should be covered. She insists that he come closer to see how deep the well was, to which he replied that it was very deep, but she convinced him to go to the shore. Once on the shore, the girl pushed the man with all her strength, making him fall into the well. The man screamed, and the girl knelt at the edge of the well and asked the man if there were any scorpions below, to which he replied in Ionese to get him out of there.
Then he looked up and said, 6 meters, easy, much higher than a room ceiling. How was he going to get off of there? The man asked the girl to help him get someone to help him get off of there, but she couldn't even move to help him. He told her to ask for help from the man at the kiosk across the street, and to tell the kiosk owner that there had been an accident so they could help him, and the girl said okay. He looked around, everything was dark, and he realized that he was alone. He waited for the little brat to come back soon from the kiosk. Then the man started to get scared because he was afraid that the little girl could tell him everything that had happened in the real reason why he was in that well. So he thought that he had gone into pee and by accident he had fallen in there. He was still anxious, yelling. 2 hours went by. It was getting dark and he started screaming for help, but nobody was listening to him. And the worst thing was Saturday afternoon, so if they left him there, he could spend the whole weekend because on Sunday there were no people in that place. The man started to scream for help. He kept screaming for help, and this time he asked God for someone to come and help him get off there, and he promised God not to grab a girl again, so he couldn't hurt her. That when he felt like it, he could go to her house, and he begged God to listen to him.
Finally, the little girl appeared at the edge of the well and she didn't move, speak, only the black sky full of stars above the well. She shamed, and the stars became like a spoonful of soup. They came and they spilled a soup of stars over the little round head leaning over the rim of the well. Suddenly, she was white. He began to see hallucinations like angels, and he knew God was going to hurt him. They were coming to rescue him. The man told the little girl, no longer yelling, that he was not going to do anything to her, that he just wanted to go out of the well, that there aren't scorpions. He said all this to the little girl, trying to convince her, but he couldn't do it. Afterward, it was a silent Sunday like every other Sunday. The little girl and her mother went to Grandma Emilia's house, and they came back very late, but the mother didn't worry because Monday was a holiday and the girl didn't have to go to the kindergarten. So they slept in until quite late. It was cold, that's true, the cold for that time of year, and it rained a little toward evening. Then a man named Mr. Laughs appeared and asked to the mother of the girl if he could use the telephone. He had asked her other times before, and he had let him into the kitchen. He was a good man, Mr. Laughs, big, dark, with a pleasant smile, very polite. He had even apologized for the noise they sometimes made with the excavator or the sauce. The mother said to him yes, and also offered him coffee. Mr. Labs accepted. They had a meeting with the engineer and he had to talk to the company office too. And finally, that they needed to do something with the animal that was in the bottom of the well and that could be possibly dead. The mother gave him permission and said that she had already taken her daughter to class and she was going to go to the office. Mr. Labs gave her the thanks and apologized for the inconvenience. The mother thought that Mr. Labs was a good man and that hopefully they'd be able to get the animals out of the well, and that if it rained again, it could be a problem because the well always turned dangerous for the water.